Okay. Don't see Art. I don't see you. Oh, there's Art. Focus. Focus. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep. We got you.
I can hear you too. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
You don't need to see me. Up, up, up. Jim hasn't logged in yet.
Oh, he's coming in remotely?
No, he's sitting right here. He just isn't saying anything.
Oh, okay. Okay. I almost missed the meeting. I was watching a YouTube video and Barbara said to me, "Don't you have a meeting today?" I thought, oh crap. I do. I mean, not oh crap that I had a meeting, but that my schedule was completely
That's all right. Me and Jim were sitting out in the cafeteria area there, talking to the cop. And all of a sudden Jim realized we weren't in the meeting room, so
okay.
we were late anyway, and we were here.
So how you guys doing?
We got some good good information in the news thing that's not too twisted about where the power is coming from, who's generating the power and all that stuff. There's a good article, and I got the schedule up to May, updated till May now for the meetings.
Does it continue? The first 2 weeks are on site?
Yep. So far, so good.
Okay.
Is U.S. electricity generated by source in 2022, natural gas, coal, nuclear, wind, hydro, solar, geothermal, biomass, and petroleum. And it's got the numbers that are not really too crazy biased like they sometimes are. They sometimes list the capacity, that the capacity doesn't tell you half the story. The capacity is the capacity when the sun's full blast. Okay. Well, what about midnight? Okay. Capacity is a lie. Should be called peak. Okay.
Well, unfortunately, I haven't read the newsletter today because I spaced out on the meeting altogether. So.
Now, I'm just wondering. Zoom works differently when you have the internal software, whatever they call it. It's a tab. You don't tab to it. It is a tab.
It is a tab. Yeah.
Okay.
So where is the camera? Is that the end and at the end of the table?
There's two of them. This is my camera right here on the tripod that I wanted to see if it would do something. And then Jim's camera is the other one.
Okay.
Wanted to see if it would be better with the tripod or not. And I don't know if it is or not.
So is there a camera on the TV?
No. Not on the TV. But my camera's kind of the closest to the TV right now.
Okay.
What's going on here, Jim?
I thought I was sharing. Oh, there we go. I had a picture. I was looking at a nice picture and it says stop sharing. I said, okay, I'm sharing. So here do you see the coal line is taking a dive.
That's the black line.
That's the black line. And the light blue line is natural gas. So guess what? All the old coal plants I used to work at now are burning natural gas. I wish they would have burned natural gas when I was there. That coal was a pain in the butt. Some of the coal we got was like 50% rocks. That was tough. And burning natural gas, that's a vacation spot when you're burning natural gas. Yeah, all you gotta do is stay away. And the green is nuclear.
That seems pretty
Yep, it's
pretty
flat.
flat.
Yeah, nuclear, you run base load. You don't change the load on a nuclear plant normally. It runs flat. You distort your xenon structure if you burn too much. And the red is renewables. Now renewables includes dams, which is to me a little misleading. They break it out a little later.
You're talking about hydroelectric.
Yeah, that's hydro, it's everything.
So they
Renewables is hydro, and they consider hydro, and hydro is a big one. Now-
yeah, I would think so. And we've been using hydro for a while.
And
Yeah, like 150 years or so, 125 years.
so this one's a little more helpful. The hydro is in blue. See the blue there? How
Yeah.
the hydro is like flat. It's probably declining slightly. Because all the hydro that can be converted has been converted, except for they're squawking about, well, they can do some more. Well, some more is not significant. They're talking about doing it in streams where the streams are just, they're catching power as it flows by. Yeah, good luck with that.
It's interesting. Geothermal is pretty flat too.
Yeah, geothermal is, they say it's California mainly, and California, Hawaii.
This is supposed to be a good area for geothermal.
Mm.
It's supposed to be. I don't know if it is.
But wind is significant. Again, this is misleading because this is peak wind. And I mean, not, yeah, the peak. Actually, they're a little bit better because it's gigawatt hours. That helps a little bit, makes me feel a little bit better. Instead of just saying gigawatts, and then peak load means nothing. It doesn't-
1.21 gigawatts.
So solar is way down there. Coming up rapidly. And one thing I would like for them to include on this is a cost per gigawatt without the government aid, with the government aid taken out.
That'd be pretty tough to calculate because the government gets involved in all versions of power generation.
And then let's see, there's one more point.
Who's here?
Oh, also, one more thing we need to mention is, what do you think the average life of a solar panel is?
7 years.
It's either 7 or 12. I forget.
I'd guess 20.
Yeah, and here are the facts. The more sun you have, the brighter the sun, the shorter the life.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, Steve. Hi, Steve.
Well, hello.
You're a little,
I've always wondered what the solar panels on your roof does to your roofing material. You know, if you have to replace your roof twice as often, that's not a particularly good deal.
I was
Probably
looking
don't
at-
have to replace it as frequently.
Well, except if you watch the guys doing the installation.
they're not kind.
They are not careful.
They mentioned something here and I didn't know what it was. Combined cycle. I looked at the old plant I worked at and they have a combined cycle plant there. I didn't know what it was. And it's a turbine, a gas turbine, and they had those, and we had some actually on the site of my plant. But they were inefficient. They were peakers, basically, and we have them around here. But now they're using a gas turbine, they're using the heat off the exhaust to drive a steam turbine. And it makes it significantly more efficient. And I didn't know that. I didn't think the combustion turbines were efficient at all. I thought they were terrible, but turns out they're not bad.
Depends on how you use them.
They're a lot more efficient than solar is.
The Kohler plant was a coal plant was about 60% of the heat was lost. And with the combined cycle, only 35 is lost. So that's significant improvement.
Dun, dun, dun.
So we've got some good numbers there and not too distorted. And some decent information. Oh, and for the agenda, well, I got you guys captivated where you can't get away. I can do this and this. Oh, yeah. So there's March, there's April, and there's May. I got May approved yesterday. So we're in good shape up to May, first 2 weeks,
Okay,
first two
So-
Thursdays.
5 Thursdays in March. Okay.
Yeah, so we will have 3 virtual meetings this month. It'll be all right.
They've got a new Jack Reacher book out for those the guys who like Reacher stuff. And we talked about the battery benefits, and there are basically two main styles of batteries that they'll be offering. And the flu is doing much better.
Well, the weather's getting warmer.
That's COVID-19 there.
Okay, now we said.
And this is Ohio, both the numbers from Ohio and then the trend for Ohio. So yeah, it's. And there is another book out by Connolly, I think it is. He's the Utah Utah, I think it is Guy, does westerns. He's got a new one out that's part ghost. He does that ghosty thing sometimes with the Indian ghost.
Mm,
It was one of those. It was okay, not a bad read.
Which is the latest of the Conleys?
Well, I didn't have it in here. Let me go look up.
Because I read what I thought was the most recent one, and there's another one announced, but it's not released yet.
I meant to say Craig Johnson. Conley, there was a Conley that I put in there that was, but it was released in audiobooks in November. And it was he's working cold cases again, and one of the gals called him from work and wants him to work cold cases, so he's back into that.
Yeah, that's the last one I've read.
Okay.
I think there's another one announced, but I don't believe it's released yet.
Craig Johnson is the guy who writes all the westerns. He's a Longmire guy. If you don't know Longmire, you've missed a good series. Yeah, he's got a good series of western, modern westerns. He's a sheriff.
it was a TV show too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's on one of the Netflix had him in the series.
Yeah, I think I saw 2 or 3 episodes. Not a Western kind of person.
Yeah.
I was expecting to see more people in here.
Yeah.
I saw a 4Runner parked right near your car with amateur radio tags.
She works here.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I think she works in the Middletown, but she comes down here every now and then. Yeah.
To see Leroy.
Oh, yeah?
No, I think that's her husband's car, or her husband's call sign.
Yeah, they stand out.
Yeah.
Has it got any antennas on it?
I don't think it does. Of course. That doesn't really mean much. I've got 2 antennas on my car, and
No radio.
I've got, there's 2 radios. I don't use them. I use the HT more than I use anything else. So I suppose they could just throw some HTs in there.
Now it's falling apart on me. It's got screw loose.
Well, that's what it said about you.
It fits in well around here, then doesn't it?
Yeah. He was one of the crowd, yeah.
Ah,
What's that, the chair?
Yeah.
He's complaining it's got a screw loose. I said, everybody in this organization fit in that category.
anything new, Mr. Steve? We haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was doing okay and trying to get up there and got held over late at work.
Ah,
So just got home. Nothing going on here, just tired.
yeah.
Who's been beating you? Yeah, it looks like you've been beat all day. Man.
Yeah, it looks like you've actually had to work.
I did.
That's it.
Oh,
I have a couple of databases that are supposed to be set up master slave and stay synchronized, and they're not. So I was working all day on that. That's surprisingly tiring to sit at a desk and actually think.
oh my God.
So how's the camper project coming?
Got a lot of toys for it. Haven't got the trailer part of the trailer yet. Still in mostly planning stages. I've got one of the Camp Chef stove oven things. They're pretty nice. It's propane. I've got the cooler, I've got the water heater for it and water storage, the water pump. I've got my tubing, I've got solar panels, batteries, solar charge controller, about half of my plywood, all the lights. I still need to get foam, canvas, and the trailer itself.
Oh, okay. I was just thinking, you do a lot of help for other people, so if you need a hand on a weekend or something, feel free to shout out,
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
Yep.
What are you looking at, Jim?
Look for cameras, not gonna be on the sound bar up there, so.
There shouldn't be any cameras on the TV. I don't
Why
think.
not? There should be. You want to use it for communication via Zoom, it would be great.
It would be nice, but I've never seen a camera on the TV.
That's the way they want it to be. They don't want you to see the camera on.
They
the
don't
TV.
want-
No, yeah,
Yeah.
they do want to, they sneak in.
Where, I mean, how would it show up? You'd have to plug USB into your computer or something for it to show up. And there's no USB.
Yeah, it'd have to.
If it's a smart TV, doesn't need it, doesn't need the computer.
Smart TV that runs Zoom. Hey,
Well, yeah, but
I got other
then we would.
But you still have to have a
log in.
camera.
You'd have to log into Zoom
that's
every
what we're
time.
saying, what there should be a camera.
Just like you have in the top center of your laptop screen.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then when you, when you use it for your desktop, like I've got a 50-inch monitor on my desktop.
I don't think I would want a camera on my TV.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Years ago, I used to do repairs on TVs, and one of them I was working on, I think was a Samsung, and it had a camera in it. This guy had it in his bedroom, and he was all happy with how it responded to gestures. Volume up was raise your hand flat, and volume down was lower it. And I'm like, really? In your bedroom? Okay. No.
Yeah.
Shelter.
That was, good grief, that had to be like 2000, 2004. That's been a while.
That was a plasma, I assume.
No,
The
No.
early Samsungs up through about 2012 or so were tended to be plasma. Big ones.
I'm certain it was before 2012 because I had stopped doing that stuff by then. It was between 2004 and 2008. It wasn't a plasma. I was there to replace the power supply in it, and it was definitely not a high voltage plasma power supply. Not even sure now that it was Samsung. There were hundreds of TVs. They all kind of fade together.
So it looks like Hisense and Sharp may have been buddies or something. Maybe.
I swear the 3 TVs, smart TVs that I've got at the house, all different brands. The only thing that's really different about them is the bezel.
We need some.
Everything else is exactly the
I see, oh, yeah.
And they all respond to the Vizio remotes, but they're not Vizio TVs, and Vizio had absolutely nothing to do with these TVs.
So who stole whose?
I don't know, but they all, I've got a Vizio remote and I could turn them on, turn them off, change the channel, change the volume.
Meaning the Vizio just spams across everything.
It must do that. I don't know.
I found a 55-inch 4K smart TV in the dumpster.
Whoa.
You guys want one of these?
Again.
I'm in the wrong place.
Yeah,
What are they?
Thank you.
What are they,
They're
snacks or
cupcakes.
what?
They're cupcakes.
Cupcakes. Oh, wow. Hmm.
I can't eat it. I shouldn't eat it. I want to eat it.
Have a cupcake.
You don't want any, they're terrible. It tastes terrible.
right, just
You wouldn't
about
like any of them.
Yeah.
What kind of, they're pink. They're pink cupcakes.
There's strawberry.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
No, slide one down. Leroy, please.
I can't eat one because I didn't have a napkin.
I had to have two.
Yeah, yeah, not going for that. Excuse.
My youngest kid made cupcakes once, strawberry cupcakes. And I'm thinking he was probably about 7 at the time. And he started with some sort of mix. And it was vanilla cupcakes. And he decided to make them strawberry by putting in strawberry quick, about half a can of it. Oh, they were pretty good, but good Lord, they were sweet.
Well, the story goes that my grandmother always traded things around to get them into a smaller container because she had limited space in her kitchen. And my aunt made some cake. And they all commented, it says good flavor, but it's kind of unusual. What flavor is that? She said, vanilla. And my grandmother said, well, I don't have any vanilla.
Oh.
And it was a machine oil, or the sewing machine. Oh, I thought to myself, they're doomed. Transferring machine oil into a vanilla container and not relabeling or marketing it or anything.
Well, you know, what doesn't kill you, only makes you stronger, right? Little machine oil, never hurt anybody.
Well, I don't know about that. Might loosen you up a bit.
Yeah. Right.
Just in time. I tried to share it with our neighbors there, but some reason they just couldn't get one.
Art,
The transporter doesn't work.
Somebody had to bring some toys too.
who bring this?
Yeah.
This is an experiment by all see bacteria stuff or something. I'm sorry. You're making a study of the effects of this? No.
Medical experiments.
No. These are birthday cupcakes.
For who, huh? Maybe we.
Happy birthday.
Well, how old do you think I am?
39.
Lie like a rug.
Hey,
One
it's my
year more
birthday.
than last year.
One year more than last year.
Yeah, 1 year older than last year. Accepted. I'll give you a hint. Richard Nixon invited me to go camping.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like I was
78.
going down the hall in my apartment building and a couple of kids downstairs and they had yo-yos. I said, I had one of those when I was a kid. And then I said, well, yeah, man, they had dinosaurs when I was young too. And they said, mister, did you really have dinosaurs?
And the other kid said, of course he did.
Can't you see?
It's
Darn kid.
67.
Come on now.
I'm guessing. Okay. More?
Oh, yeah, it had another decade on there.
Yeah, pretty much.
You don't look that old.
I turned 74 yesterday.
Oh, you're a year older than me.
Oh, you're a youngster.
74.
No, I was semi-close,
Yeah.
close-ish.
So
I was actually going to say somewhere in the 70s, because I know how old my dad is, and I know you worked with dad, but
yeah.
you don't look like you're in your 70s, so.
There are days that I feel like I'm in the 80s. This is one of them. By the way, I want to talk, last time we were both together here about the rebroadcasting in 4K.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I looked that up and there are several stations that are broadcasting 4K. 5.1 is one of them, but no tuners are currently on the market for that unless you buy them.
Yeah.
You buy a 4K tuner, $800 and some odd dollars.
Yeah.
And, oh wait,
Can you tell instantly when you get on that channel that it's 4K?
I don't have a 4K tuner on the television. If I go through the internet and look at it with 4K,
Mhm.
I can tell that it's a higher quality. But over the air, I'm not capable of receiving 4K sound.
You can't
And
see
a
it.
separate side box, yeah,
Yeah.
and they're up there.
You know,
Well,
What sort of
like-
bandwidth does it take to get a full 4K video?
I think it's the same frequency. I'm not certain what's required. They call it the next generation high def, where we went from analog to digital. Well, this is the next step of doing high def digital. And there are not too many stations that are broadcasting it, but nobody's able to really receive it. Not with current technology. I
So we're gonna all have to go buy new TVs again.
Well, that
Oh, yeah, right.
that's going to happen sooner or later anyway, because they've changed the standard. The broadcast standard has changed again anyway, so
that's
it's they're going to either have to come out with boxes again or just make everybody go buy a new TV again, because they can't decide what's the best standard anymore. There is no best standard, it's whatever they decide.
Well,
They put so
Yeah,
much effort into getting color to work with the standard of black and white. They couldn't do that again. Bummer.
It's just a mess because they keep saying, you know, things are changing and blah, 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 and they are, things are better. But
what are you doing, Leroy? I'm getting dizzy here.
15 years now.
I was going to try to move the camera a little closer so we can see what Vicente's doing. But I can't get my tripod.
Is he
to do
flying
it.
around?
I can't get the tripod to collapse. I broke my tripod.
By the way, I don't want to take any of your phone.
Putting us under a lot of pressure here. Oh, man.
Like when the bell goes off at the bar in the morning, bartender says, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. You don't have to either. But they can't stay here.
Oh,
I don't know how close I can get or anything.
Is that upside down?
I can't get the tripod to collapse, so it's probably sideways.
No, it's okay.
not normal for us, sideways, not normal for us.
He's got a light display on the back wall that I don't know if you can actually see or not.
This was to show how it works. This is a Bluetooth link between the computer and this board. Finally, I was trying all the Bluetooth models, commercial one, HC05, HC06, MH10. None of them works. I don't know why. I tried with different machines, with 3 laptops, with
Right.
different operating systems. No way. So I am using a ESP32 with the Bluetooth capability to act like a bridge, a serial bridge user to connect this MicroPython microcontroller to the laptop. Okay, instead of using a cable to the USB port, I am using a Bluetooth link, and it's working pretty fine.
Did that serial link that you had that was 433 megahertz, is that not working real well?
Well, I am using MicroPython IDE that works with a fixed speed of 11
5200. Yeah.
hertz. So I am using the Bluetooth link to move at this rate freely, and it's working without problem. I tried different radio links.
Yeah.
And
Some of them
I
work.
used to lose some commands or something, and there is always a problem. Now it's working really
Now
nice.
that's interesting. The lights appear to be white, but the reflection is in color.
Yeah.
Now, why?
Well, because
Well, it's because
the intensity saturate the
it's
saturate the camera. You know?
Oh, yeah.
So this is low intensity the reflection.
Oh, okay.
So, for example, this is working MicroPython program in this board here. Okay, close. Okay, so I can stop the application. This stop. I can change the speed. For example, make it faster. 4 times faster, for example, and just run the new script. You see, instead of using Arduino that you need to compile and download the X file or the .bin, whatever.
Yeah.
That usually you spend like half a minute
Yeah.
in a fast way situation. This thing changes very fast, you know. So my idea is to use Python, MicroPython in this case, is the same thing, but small footprint and not all the libraries to control a robot remotely. So you can just experiment, move forward, go faster, change the PID controller, whatever, and you will see the results immediately, you know.
Mm.
So last time I showed this board here. It was working with a sketch made in Arduino. Okay, so I changed all the sketch to MicroPython. Now this microcontroller is running MicroPython interpreter. So I copy a MicroPython sketch or script to do exactly the same thing that was doing by the Arduino sketch, usually in C++, like So my idea is to use these two things just to control wheels, encoders. This is a magnetic absolute encoder, means that it always know the position of the wheel. Don't need to count pulses, just it's absolutely. It measures the angle of the magnetic field. So there is a tiny magnet that magnets usually are polarized when you see like in the shape of what's the name of the hockey puck or the hockey
Puck,
hockey puck.
hockey puck.
Okay, the magnet with this shape usually has north and south in the top and the bottom or whatever. But these magnets are manufactured in different way. So half of the shape has a polarity and the other half has another polarity. So when you rotate in the cylindrical shape, you are rotating the magnetic field, the lines of magnetic field between north and south. You know? So this sensor is measuring this direction with a precision of 1095 divisions in one revolution. Okay.
Wow.
So you know the position of the wheel very precisely without using encoders and interruptions and try to figure out where you are. Okay. So this thing costs $1 and you can use I2C bus to read the absolute position of the wheel. Okay.
So it's measuring the flux field confluence.
Excuse me. What? Sorry.
Oh, when you put pluses and the negatives together, you end up with a deviation in the flux fields on magnets.
But they work pretty well. I didn't trying to intervene with a bigger magnet. Maybe you will just make it work the bad way. But this motor and this wheel cost like $3 plus the encoder $1. So for $10 you have the full driving system of the robot. You know?
That level of
It's a very cheap controllers driving electronic driving for the motor. So look,
And you only got
Is it-
4 pins coming off the
yeah,
positioner. Or the
yes,
encoder
it's
system.
plus and minus voltage, ground and voltage, and I2C, just 2 lines. Okay. The problem is the sensor has a fixed address. So if you want to use more than one sensor, you are in trouble. You know, this sensor, the manufacturer has another one with an L at the end that you can reprogram your address, but instead of cost under $1, cost $6. Okay, so what I was doing was to use both I2C buses of the ESP32. So each bus goes to a different encoder. Okay, and it works pretty good. Okay? So look, this.
That's funny. You got 2 multiplexers, so you can have multiple devices on the same bus. But you got 2 buses for 2 devices. Oh.
You can
Save
move,
money.
you can move the wheel and the sensor is telling you all the time where it is.
Sure.
Okay. My call is measuring the position, and each time you change from one half of the values to the other half, you increase or decrease the number of turns. Okay. So each time I present the number of turns multiplied by 4095 plus the absolute position. You understand? So you see this is the absolute position. I can go increase when I pass 4095. I am in 1 revolution plus the absolute position here. If I reset the microcontroller, I will see the absolute position. This is the absolute position.
okay.
So I lost the number of revolutions because I reset the microcontroller. It's in a volatile variable. Okay?
Okay, so. Our display here,
Let me move forward to reach 4,000.
95.
4,000. It's very sensitive. Okay, 4,124. Okay, if I reset the absolute position is 24. Okay, you add this to the 4,085, you have the.
okay, now when you go beyond that. Revolution. Will the number in front of that be 1? Or will it be a multiple?
No, let's go back,
4,000?
to see.
Okay.
It's minus.
Negative,
Okay,
and you can go negative until 4,000 something.
that wasn't quite my question.
What happens when you pass 4,000?
Okay. Then when we go past the 4,000, is it going to count one revolution
One
plus
revolution.
plus
The absolute,
4,000?
the absolute position
Okay, so the absolute position will be
is the value of the sensor.
2 times 4,000, so it'll read 8,000, or will it read 2 point something?
So the wheel only goes to 4095.
Yeah.
The software counts how many times it's gone above that or gone below
Yeah,
zero.
yeah, let's show you. Let's go move forward for something.
Yeah.
We continue on count.
Okay, so the line then, to the left of the line are the number of revolutions.
Yeah, I
Okay,
can go back to the same position if I go back.
I understand now. I didn't know whether it counted increments. But just those increments and then revolutions.
It doesn't show you
But
revolution.
no increments, absolute position.
It's not revolutions though, it's counts.
No,
No,
It's
it's in
absolute-
the angle, it's in the position.
If you look,
If the position passed from one half to the other half in the.
there's a line on the display,
Oh, okay.
and the left of the line is revolutions.
Oh, okay.
And to the right is.
No, revolution, this is the absolute number of multiply
Okay.
the value of revolutions by 4,095 plus the absolute position.
Okay, that's what I was asking. So it's always going to be the sum total of increments.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly, yeah.
you know the absolute position of the wheel.
So if you wanted
If you want to go
revolutions.
1 meter.
Divide by 4095.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
so my idea is to use this.
I didn't know whether this was base 4,095.
Where did 4,095 come from?
That's
12 bits.
one revolution.
The analog converter
Okay,
use 12 bits.
12 bit, okay,
Okay, so you have a value between 0 and the maximum value of 12 bits, 4,000, whatever.
Yeah.
So you have an analog indication of the position of the wheel.
got it.
Okay. And I say each time I move from one side of the position, pass by 0, one in one direction, on the other direction, I increment or decrement the full.
Yeah, I just didn't know where the number, where that number came
But
from.
my idea is to.
Yeah,
use-
I understand what we're
It's
doing.
somebody's birthday plus her daughter's anniversary.
So you got a counter in there? You
No,
don't have a
I
counter,
only count revolutions,
okay.
but the absolute position.
What does it do? It's, you got analog out. But is there a counter in there, or is it based on the position
No,
that it?
it's a voltage proportional to the direction of the field.
Wow, okay, so it's not a counter, it's a.
No, it's a.
It's linear, okay,
Effect
guess
sensor.
what? Linear A to D converters, I've been around them. Is it linear? Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, but that's excellent.
I ordered 4 of those sensors from China. They'll be here 2 months from now.
But the idea is to use this combination of using MicroPython with a Bluetooth link, okay? And these encoders and wheels in a robot, and experiment with ghost ray, turn 90 degrees, 100 degrees, just try to make precise movements of the robot, go around and go back to the same position.
Well, I don't know, I was thinking ahead, or maybe aside. Let's say we were doing a CNC and we wanted an absolute position.
Yeah.
If you had no slippage, you could do away with so much other stuff in terms of your stepper motors.
Well, actually, the sensor used in machines just in those screws that rotate, and you know exactly the position of your screw that is connected with a gear. Okay, you know exactly where your machine is.
For the drive mechanism, but you could use anything you wanted as long as this did not slip and it moved along.
Yeah.
Let's say you had a rack and pinion.
Well, the problem may be the mechanical. If you have problems with the offset of something in your assembly, but you know for sure what is the position of your axle, you know, your screw or something.
But it's very precise.
Yeah.
But it all breaks down when you hit that tire to the ground. Okay, that's when your precision goes
Yeah,
down.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah. But up to that point, you got very good precision.
I mean, if you sleep or something,
Yeah, and you
don't know where you are.
Yeah.
You're gonna have lash in the system. No matter
Yeah,
how your
sure.
mechanical interface between the rotary mechanism and your linear. You can't get away without that,
yeah.
but it's still gonna be a pretty darn precise position.
But you can use maybe another system to know where you are. Just make small movements around and recalibrate your position every several seconds or so. But you can just move in a good surface or something with good tires, and because maybe you reproduce this same thing the other side, and maybe the other tire has 1 millimeter or less in diameter, depending the batch of the rubber injection or whatever. So you know the position of your wheel, but you don't know for sure that you are moving both wheels. The same revolution will produce the straight line, you know.
You could get pretty close to a straight line, much better than mine was. I just tuned the motors up till they went straight, and then so, okay, that's it. That's the number for this one. That's the number, but I had no encoders at all.
Yeah.
In a controlled
This number.
in a controlled environment, you can have your home or your row, just go around, do something, and then go back to home and recalibrate your position. Next time you do some.
You could probably go, you go pretty well with that and periodically triangulate your actual
Exactly.
position. Yeah, you could, have pretty good accuracy.
Or go back to the position and recalibrate your sensor, infrared or whatever.
You put a line down, a straight line down, and you set your robot on the center of the line, and without even using encoders or anything, and you see which way it veers, and then you could adjust,
Yeah.
and then you can use your encoders
Till it goes straight.
until it goes straight, and then you can use your encoders to keep it going straight. But you figure out what the difference is between the two wheels first, and then you can use the encoders later.
Well, you guys are thinking in a different pathway than I was. I was thinking.
We assume that. Any two of this group, yeah, you can assume that.
Shaper origin, I think everybody's familiar with that. Is, you know, okay. There is a microprocessor controlled router called. And they have a series of dominoes and tape. And the Shaper Origin has a camera that takes in all of these dominoes and it determines its position optically based on that. And then within that, if you're within a half an inch of the path on the handheld router, it will control the router bit to follow the pathway that you have established down to 1/1000th of an inch. Which to me is amazing that you have the location on a tabletop within 1/1000th of an inch based on an optical camera. Shaper Origin is the name of the device, and they're very sophisticated, but they're also damned expensive.
I was gonna say, are they cheap? Are they cheap? Then you got Nicente's attention.
No, they're about $3,000. It's a hell of a tool.
Oh, that's Leroy's, Cap.
Oh, no,
But
out of my budget.
I mean, it's one of those things I look at it and lust, but
Yeah, hand those down to him, because he can't hear anything till he gets a cupcake. Yeah, you know, I'm just like that. I couldn't hear a thing.
these are not going home.
Oh, okay.
Not going to his home.
Cool.
Yeah.
I got you.
Oh, he's been into the M&Ms. I see why, that's how he survived. He's,
Yeah.
I surprised he didn't fall over on the floor when he saw him. He had M&Ms to keep him going.
I'm just thinking, if you were looking at the universe of sensing positions, this and the technology associated with the Shaper Origin, you could do some pretty damn sophisticated things. Are you familiar with this?
No.
Are you?
I've heard you talk about it before, so that's my familiarity.
Oh, yeah, I'm an expert.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I know
Oh, yeah.
it's a really sophisticated router.
Oh, you. Okay,
You realize how small 1/1000th is? It's pretty small.
yes, it is.
The human hair, 3/1000. So that's 3 times the size of the human hair.
Now, that's a dark black hair. Gray hairs are
A little thicker.
a little thinner.
In the
thinner,
world of things that are small, fingerprint weighs 6 micrograms. And how much lead can you have in an 8-hour day?
Oh. A lot.
6 fingerprints worth of lead in an 8-hour day. It ain't right.
Wow. And I thought I had some, a memory of so much useless information. Oh. You got me beat. It's a ring.
You that robot we were working on with Mark, you know, the hover wheel. We didn't have encoders on that. We only had.
Yeah, well, the encoders on the motor, but you have
Yeah,
very few values in a turn.
but we weren't using the encoders because we didn't have the right drivers for it, but we just figured out how to make it go straight, and it did pretty well at going straight. Just by
Calibration.
just doing a simple, it's pulling to the left or it's pulling to the right kind of deal. So I think, you know, if you get it calibrated, they probably spend a lot of time calibrating each one of their router tools, you know.
I don't know what kind of software they have, but the end user, it's intuitive and simple.
Yeah. But they've probably have spent a lot of time recalibrating each one of those, I mean, three grand, that's somebody spending some time doing something.
Well, the device itself, let's say you're gonna do an inlay. I apologize for getting off the subject. But let's say you're gonna do an inlay to this thing here, this device, and it's too tight. You can tell the shape of origin, make it larger by 2,000th of an inch. You can go back there and it will trim off 2,000th of an inch, make the circle larger, and you can keep doing that until it hits. And that's based on an optical picture. They have this tape that makes it an endless CNC. You can keep putting tape down if you wanted to do a 45-foot table for cutting pieces to put together. It keeps sealing and keeps extending it, no matter which way you go.
Mark did CNC, the engineer guy that comes in periodically, but he did aerospace. He did a wing. They do CNC cutting wing. He got some stories too. Wow.
Well, may I ask, Steve, have you ever heard of the Shaper origin?
Yeah, my middle kid wants one really, really badly. There's something kind of similar to that down in the lab there at the library. They've got a 3D imager that uses those same dominoes to determine rotation and how far away the camera is from the object. You might want to take a look at that on your way out.
Very neat.
Yes. Well,
Do you have it there talking to your telephone yet?
what?
Do you have it talking to your telephone yet?
I am using Bluetooth low energy to talk with an application in my phone. It's working pretty nice also. But I didn't make the blue low energy BLE to connect to the PC. I need a client driver or something to reproduce the serial port in the PC, but I am looking for it. Maybe I will find something to do the same thing, but Bluetooth low energy. So I will use a lot less power than this, or will be very low power thing.
What do you call the little plugs that fit into your USB? They look like they're normally to connect a wireless keyboard or mouse.
Oh, like a dongle?
Yeah, yes.
Normally I think of a dongle with a wire. But
Yeah.
you're referring to that.
Uh-huh.
I have a dongle that is a Bluetooth, and I tried to use it to connect to my hearing aids. And it would connect, and I could get audio,
Okay.
but quality just sucked.
Bluetooth is an issue. So what have problems with it. I was working with 10 models of Bluetooth for different brands, different models. No one works with this stuff.
Bluetooth on my telephone does provide excellent CD quality to my hearing aids.
Bluetooth low energy.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking this week and I was like, I've given up on Bluetooth because I hate.
I told you.
Yeah, I hate.
2 days ago, I found out that this device working in using the Bluetooth radio works. Yeah, very good.
Well, didn't, within like the last year, didn't they come out with a revised Bluetooth standard?
Well, the standards are changing all the time, but it's a mess. I mean, they gotta support the old stuff and they've got to do this because all this stuff is still out there.
I had never liked their methodology for maintaining connections. I mean, seriously, give them a list of devices that can connect. And, okay, turn it on, it should connect. That should be it. And no, it's not that easy.
And then Apple has their own spec for, you know, if your device doesn't support Apple, it will never, ever connect with an Apple device, ever.
They got that's money, probably money there.
Yeah, well, it's because the spec is a mess and they can just change what they want to change and.
Well, it does make their operation very consistent with Apple stuff.
Yeah.
That's the Apple way.
But it's a mess. I mean,
Yeah, well.
it's just, and whatever they come up with next will at least have to support like Bluetooth 4, Bluetooth 5.
There is a problem with that also.
Yeah,
Every update or upgrade or whatever, we have problem with the former
with
device.
back support of legacy stuff. I mean, I don't think anybody supports Bluetooth 1 anymore, but I've got a few original Bluetooth devices that my phone can connect to, so.
Well, they got Bluetooth file services
I am
too.
using Bluetooth for this.
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And it didn't ask for, no, the Bluetooth low energy, it didn't ask for a PIN or password or whatever.
Yeah.
It just, pay it with another device and they always connect.
Yeah.
Without asking.
Bluetooth low energy was supposed to try to fix some of the pairing problems that the other ones had, but I don't know if they solved anything or just made stuff more complicated for no reason.
You know that Apple
Yeah,
device that I developed,
yeah.
it's a couple of weeks ago. It can keyboard and mouse on it.
Half a millimeter.
I don't know of another device that's ever changed had a Bluetooth mouse or a Bluetooth keyboard.
Yeah, I've seen the Bluetooth mouse before. Sometimes they're proprietary,
Section of.
but a good one would be Bluetooth. Yeah, I'd say, oh, that's a good one.
Oh, okay.
This is Apple.
Oh, okay. Apple
What?
Bluetooth, oh.
My desktop will support Bluetooth keyboards. It did not come with a Bluetooth keyboard, but it's got the same problem. It doesn't activate the Bluetooth until you're in the OS. So you can't use the keyboard until
You're booted, yeah.
get to
It is good, actually.
Linux or Windows.
Just
or
basically taking in a water.
So I've got Windows on that Apple machine now.
Oh, do you?
We're going to make like a box to cover
I
this
can't,
section between
I have
the access.
exactly, it doesn't recognize the keyboard until it's already in the.
It's
operating
already
system.
there.
So
Or
I can't
to approach
choose
some
the
mechanism
operating
or something.
system for Apple or the Windows one.
Oh,
It just goes wherever they will please.
The only way around that, especially with the Apple, is plug a USB keyboard in.
No, so.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only way around that.
It's in a reasonable distance. Well,
But-
no
So,
problem.
At least you got something that's usable,
Distance is,
sort of.
important for.
I've got Windows 7 on it.
Doesn't matter that we have
I
a.
can't get any of the updates and everything.
Ah,
because
it's-
it's being supported.
Yeah.
It's
kinda-
kinda
interesting.
See, there is some effect on the position.
It's also kind of interesting that you had nobody take you up on giving away a free iMac.
Well, this is. a Mac.
Yeah.
Rare earth magnets.
It is
That's right,
changing.
Yeah.
is it?
Pulling that
Yeah.
field around.
Oh, yeah, how about that?
You change the angle of
It's still a
That's-
rare earth magnet that far away to affect it.
the
so.
distance is,
That's
I
it.
mean, you can be here. Let's make the absolute.
That is interesting. So the magnetic field that the motor generates isn't enough to affect it, but the magnet in your glasses is.
Magnetism is third order equation, so distances.
Well, then rotate your
Yeah, so
hand.
it's pulling the field around.
So I'll jump up to 100 and something.
Even cheap motors tend to be pretty well shielded magnetically.
The field is. Well, we don't use it. May I?
It you remember a few years ago, I had the one of the compasses. And it always, if it was close to the motors, it would get wacky. I had to put it half a foot away from the motors or so.
So,
Minimum, yeah.
That's interesting.
we were playing with the magnets of my glasses. And you see how they affect the absolute position of the sensor. The measurement. The distance.
Minimum.
So you could mess with your robot, just throw some magnets out.
So my rod won't work inside a MRI machine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't work inside of an MRI machine.
I don't work anywhere. So there you go. Me and Kenny's, we're out. We don't use those 4-letter words in public.
I ordered 4 of those sensors, and I was thinking about sticking them on the mechanism wheel robot and seeing if I could get a little bit better control out of it. The big mechanism wheel robot, of course, it's pretty good, but it's not perfect.
You were talking about ordering something. It reminded me, I was building a project and we needed some full extension drawer glides. And I found on Amazon where I could buy a set of 10 for $28. So I ordered them and I waited. One pair showed up. And I contacted Amazon and said, where's my other 9? Either want the other 9 or like my money back. I said, no problem. We'll contact the seller and they'll take care of it. So I look on the Amazon and the seller has changed the description from 10 pair to 1 pair.
Okay.
And so they said, we'll find out. When you send it back, they'll give you a credit. I said, well, I don't want to pay for shipping on this. No, it's their fault. I kept watching for when there would be a shipping label. And a credit showed up the same day as shipping label came. And I pull up the shipping label. They want me to send this pair of drawer glides to Kiev, Ukraine.
Wow.
That's not happening. And the Amazon people were real nice, they agreed. No, just keep it donated, throw it away.
I've had to watch that on Amazon too. It's like, oh, everything's, 1 or 2 day delivery. And then sometimes you get down to check it out and find out, oh, it's a 20-day delivery because it's coming from outside of the states.
Well, this came from San Francisco. But
The,
they want me to send it to Kiev. It's like, I should have known when I couldn't pronounce the guy's name.
I found the sensors on eBay about the same price that you paid for them. But I didn't, I knew they were going to come from China. I didn't realize that the shipping time was almost 2 months. It was almost 2 months. Free shipping, but
Yeah. When
For-
when they write you see them. What are you for? What's the project?
I think I ended up paying $1.25 a piece for them, something like that. Maybe $1.50 a piece.
Sometimes I have a connector delivery. I don't remember what they are for. I was thinking when I ordered.
Well, I will remember what these are for, but when I checked out and everything, it didn't say that it was going to take 2 months until it showed up and said it's been shipped. It'll be here May 27th or something like.
And you have to say,
Oh, Chinese New
May
Year.
27th of what year?
That's what.
That's
yeah,
what it, you're right.
That throws an extra month. on it.
Yeah, because I ordered, yeah, you're right.
I will need a banner like dimensions, to use the robot in the banner and check if it moves with precise.
Yeah.
Gail took my mini pins. It's
Uh-huh.
a pain reliever. It's got a 3027 battery in it. So it's not high voltage. Okay. And you stick it on and it has 2 sticky patches.
Yeah, but
And has
have an inverter or something because
Do what?
you need thousands of volts to stimulate.
I put it on and turned it on. You push the button and hold the plus button and that will turn on full volume. Then you can hit the minus button to bring it down. And you put it on and you feel something. It's kind of like, it feels like it's burning. Okay, and what I think it is like my treatment for sinus headaches. You take a hot rag and put it on your face with salt on it, salt water, and it's so hot that it burns your face, you forget all about your sinus headache. It's kind of like that, but I had it on full volume. It was irritating, but I think you might be able to turn it down to where it's not. So it is
Yeah,
pretty
I
painful.
have a regular TENS unit that has 10 contacts
Oh,
and yeah, they work very effectively for muscle spasms.
does it feel like you're burning? It's burning, or can you turn it down where it doesn't feel like it's burning? It just,
They have a pulse, duration, and then total time. So you can adjust all of those. And if you turn it up too high, it'll make you think.
so they don't think you're on fire, huh?
Yeah.
I had a chiropractor. I went in with back pain and he had some little gizmo, looked like a wacky thing like this. And within 15 minutes, he put it on my back. 15 minutes, I was good. I was perfect.
Yeah, it's
I couldn't believe it. That something like you got, huh? That really works, huh?
It
Wow.
doesn't actually make the thing that hurts stop hurting. It confuses your nerves to the point that your brain just doesn't realize it. Pain has a purpose. It's to make you stop moving.
Sensation, saturate the signal. A lot of noise or
Overstimulated.
something with stimulation. So after that, nothing.
I can see though, if you had severe pain, and I've had some, but it did away with the pain in my back. It confused, and it didn't come back. It was gone. Miracle.
Sometimes the pain produce contraction, and the contraction press the nerve and produce pain.
Produce the
So
pain. It's a
there is like a,
feedback.
yeah,
Oh,
feedback. So sometimes you relax when you stop feeling pain,
Oh, okay.
and you relax also release the nerve,
Oh, okay.
the pressure.
Ah,
So it's the way it works.
oh, so there may be some uses for this little silly thing.
You need to break the loop. Feedback,
Mhm.
pressure, pain.
I used to repair the TENS units for a chiropractor in Hamilton long ago. Those things had 555 chips in them and big old audio transformers. They were neat.
Any 555s.
Steve, what voltage do they have?
I remember
You remember?
the 17 magazines used to have always some kind of project about nerve stimulation or whatever, or read your brain waves. Or I remember the electronic magazines from 70s, 80s used to have projects about that all the time. Do it with 555 or whatever. Usually there were analog designs, no microcontrollers then. Make
The
a,
ones
make a brain tune up or something. In the cover, there is a guy with a band in the
ones that Dr. Knobs had ran off the line voltage, so they were 120 volts in, and they had an optical isolation generator inside of them so that they weren't directly connected to the lines. Neat little setup. But the output voltage on those things could hit 200 volts.
To what? I'm sorry, Steve, I didn't hear you.
last word.
200 volts.
200
Yeah.
volts.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, they could get to the point of making you get up off the table. I'd stick them on myself to see if they felt right. And I never turned them up above about 15%.
Well, that explains a lot.
So what's the theory behind this?
For
mean-
pain relief, or they're used for a lot of things. It passes a low current voltage through you. It makes your muscles spasm. It confuses nerve messages, I guess. They do a lot of neat things, and they are useful. If you have a thing that they're helpful for, they're very helpful. If you have a thing that they're not helpful for, they will mess your weekend up.
So is this kind of an electronic acupuncture kind of thing where you're sticking electrodes into the skin?
No, it's
This-
on the
it's
surface.
sticky
They're conductive, sticky pads. The same thing they use for EEGs or EKGs, but the pads
Okay.
tend to be larger, so they're in a larger area. And no, I mean, there are given points that they stick them to. The ones that you can buy at Myers and stuff, you put wherever. But if you're going to somebody trained, there are specific spots that you stick them for different ailments. They can be a fun toy.
Okay. this impresses me right up there with bamboo splints under the fingernails. I mean, so you're shocking. What's that?
That's the. Meters. It's a voice.
What's this, an SDR?
Yeah.
What is that, 40 meters?
No, no, contra pinche zurdo más que nada. Pero hablando con, tú sabes, con la gerencia y con todo el mundo ahí, se convenció y para que lo jugara todos los días. Y así fue. Y tuvo muy buen año para nosotros. Creo que dio 14 honrones, batió como 275, jugó muy buen right field. Un muchacho muy profesional, muy humilde. Es una delicia estar con él ahí, verlo todos los días, porque tiene una visita de esa de buen corazón, ¿me entiendes? Y yo bien. Sí.
Bueno, vamos a hablar de la historia de Nachi, ¿no? ¿Por qué Nachi y dónde nació José Castro? Sé que naciste en La Habana, pero bueno, puede ser en Marianao, en El Delgado, en El Cotó, en San...
Broadcast portion of the band, right?
Well, it's 7.1, that's CW, up to 735, that's the top of the. I got a broadcast station.
That's what the Voice of America Park in Westchester up on Tyler Mills Road, Cox Road. That's what their big antennas can hear right now. So, and the signals are fairly strong. So in theory, if you had a decent antenna, you should be able to hear the same thing if you're in this area.
And that's amazing, and it's all band and a bunch of modes. So if you're a shortwave listener or a ham radio listener, you got a lot of capability.
You are using an antenna where?
That's like a web SDR.
In a service?
Yeah, it's Voice of America Park.
Okay.
We put the link.
Yeah.
Can we send you the link?
The meeting announcement?
Yeah, I see, it was in the meeting, I'll put it in the up here. If my insanity doesn't
Got it.
interfere.
Fix my, I need an absolute encoder.
Webpage.
Where my bearings are.
A friend of mine was an electrical engineer, and in college, his dad had bought a whole bunch of World War II surplus equipment, and he had a radio, and he thought he was broadcasting a particular frequency, and he had a large telescoping antenna. He went outside of his apartment, he ran that up and broadcast something. Well, come to find out that the broadcast transmission was faulty. His dad had bought bad equipment. And the next day, the Army from Manhattan, Kansas was at the house next door. Wanting to know who was responsible for the broadcast.
Oh my God.
He didn't do it again.
Back in the 16, 17, so mid-80s. One of my friends had bought a used surplus. He called it a CB. He said, "This CB is awesome." flipped it on. It was a tube deal. I mean, it was a heck of a deal. He flipped it on, and it, almost as soon as he turned it on and started talking on it, somebody came up and said, "You are an unauthorized user on this frequency." And they showed up at his house, and it was like Westchester PD or something.
Wow.
Yeah, he had an old police thing from 1,000 years ago, and it was still on an active frequency. And they were not happy. They were not happy. But almost as soon as he turned it on and started talking and heard people talking, he shut it back off. But that thing had to have been probably 200-watt radio.
I don't know the particulars about the power of this. All I know is
A radio station.
it wasn't what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, well, that was, it's a CB, no, no, that is not a CB.
I put it in there too in the agenda.
Yeah, okay, great.
But that's pretty neat stuff.
Those quickie SDR radios, those things are $300 plus, and then you need a decent antenna. But I think those will also transmit too. So if you're a ham, you can actually use those to low power transmit stuff.
I'm curious what sort of filter they use to cut out 7 kilohertz.
Don't
It
know.
has single
That's
sideband,
applications or something.
typically single sideband.
Steve said something about I couldn't hear him.
He wanted to know what kind of filter they used, and I really don't know. I know, I mean, if you Google that, you'll find a bunch of stuff out about it. But it will go clear down. See, I was listening to the Air Force one day. I think that was 1.5 megahertz, maybe. It was way down.
So it's right above broadcast?
Yeah, it was way. And it will go, I think they'll go up to 3 or 4 gigahertz. So not that there's anything up there worth listening to, but they'll go up there.
Is military still analog or have they digitized and encoded?
Yes, and yes. It depends on what they're doing.
I think they're going SDR. Yeah, yeah. I read something about the new, and of course, when you go SDR and you got encryption out the wazoo then, and variations in transmission and reception types. It's crazy.
What I was listening to was, it was a digital signal, and then somebody was talking over top of it. And it was like a number station, only they were doing alpha. Instead of numbers, they were doing, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. And then every so often,
Tango.
yeah, and every so often they would stop for 4 or 5 minutes, and then they would start back up and they would repeat the same alpha sequence again. Then they would stop for a little bit, start back up. It was very, very interesting because it was like you could hear the digital stuff in the background, which I'm sure that a good filter could just get rid of the audio portion and just hear what was going on with the digital stuff. Because I'm sure the digital stuff was what was really the important. And the audio portion was probably what you locked on to so you could get a sync or whatever.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But I was talking to somebody else about that, and they were saying that the alpha portion of it, the phonetic portion, changes every day. They say different things. So it's like, oh yeah, that sounds like an old number station.
You've got the daily TV guide and you're tuning into the right show.
Yeah. It's very interesting, and it's down in a portion of the band where not many people would have a receiver to even receive it, so. And I heard it on their website, so. You got, I was listening to HF traffic for the airliners, which is kind of interesting to listen to. I was listening to something else that you just don't really hear anywhere. It's kind of neat what's actually floating around out there in the world of airwaves. I've heard I did not hear it myself personally, but I heard a audio copy of one of the balloons that got shot down. So they were in the clear, they were just talking in the clear, and somebody had a radio that was tuned to them and they could listen to them talk. So,
Listen to the balloons talk.
no, listen to the pilots talk about shooting it down.
Oh, okay. My brother sent me that something that was cooked up wasn't real. I didn't ever hear a real military broadcast.
I'm pretty sure what I heard was.
No, but
was
they
real.
used to talk in the civil frequencies because there are planes around, but they switch when they are doing military stuff. They were in both frequencies. Just keep the civil ships around, far from them, whatever. Check because they are planning to shoot down. So they need to be sure that no civil planes are around.
Yeah.
Yes. What I was sent purported to be the communication between the two pilots actively engaging and targeting the balloon. And I don't think it was real.
What I heard was actually like 4 different people talking. You could tell there were 4 different. There were 3 pilots and a controller.
I think that there is a lot of people producing fake stuff.
Yeah. This sounded legit though. I don't know. They were able to match what was in the sky according to one of the flight trackers. So
This contained computer generated visuals.
oh no, what I heard was just audio. So you could tell there was a controller and there were 3 different pilots that were discussing things.
Any
So
thoughts
which
on why they
balloon-
waited so long to shoot that thing down?
Do what?
Any thoughts on why they waited so long to shoot it down?
Well, now, are you talking about the first balloon or the other 3?
I'm talking about the
first
other 3. The other 3 are the
Alaska,
audio I heard.
Alaska, right? They were very far from the north.
Yeah.
Look at that, Leroy, what's going on?
$4. That sounds way too cheap.
You did the cable only. No,
They
the
do
antenna,
have
the
a newer
antenna.
version of that that
See-
has a,
You see the antenna,
Yeah, it's gotta be the antenna.
change to
Click,
Yeah,
all we happened here.
click on the
Oh,
other picture.
oh, okay, 33 do, okay. I was wondering, yeah,
Well,
that's,
that's still.
Ollie's Ollie's bad to do that, yeah. They do have one for about $17 that, but this is the old version, there's a newer version of this with an attenuator.
I wa-
I was like, jump all over that, Jim.
My wife and I were in a furniture store and we were looking at lamps and stuff. It was, that's not bad. It's pretty nice. We realized it was the price of the shades. Like, no, the other time, no.
Yeah, me and Patty, we just got back from IKEA, and IKEA's bad about doing stuff like that. You know, you got the bedspread, and you got the bed, and you got the mattress, and all three of them have different prices. None of it really goes together.
Not even.
Or you buy the tabletop, and then you got to buy the four legs to go with it.
And what the heck is a broblop? Why am I buying a broblop?
So Steve, what's your thoughts about the balloon being shot down?
I don't really have any thoughts. I just wondered why they waited till it got all the way across the country before they shot it down.
That didn't make sense to me at all. They could have
Well,
shot it
I mean,
farmland or over mountains.
the official word was because it was overpopulated areas, but I really don't know why they waited so long, because I would have shot it down.
Well, what intelligence are you going to get from a balloon that you couldn't get via around somebody driving around in a van or satellite? I mean, the sky is filled with spy satellites now.
Yeah,
But you can put things on a balloon to disperse that you can't easily ship in and put in a van.
Well, that's true. The size of it was remarkable. And I think it was like 127, the antenna was 127 feet or some. I might have the numbers wrong. In fact, I'm sure I got the numbers wrong, but it was that magnitude.
yes. I don't know. I would have waited until it was in the desert or something and shot it down. I mean,
And use a shotgun to bring it down slow, rather than a missile.
Yeah.
wait for it to be over Area 51 or something and shoot it down. I mean,
well, it was coming across from Canada into Montana and Dakotas and so forth, and then went southeast from there.
yeah.
So it actually went from less populated areas to more populated areas. But northern Montana, I guess you could hit some prairie dogs up there, but the population is pretty sparse.
I had heard that they thought recovery would be easier if it was in the water. I don't know if that's true or not, but that seems far-fetched to me.
So
Knowing how hard it is to find stuff out in the ocean.
So what if they had not shot it down? Would that balloon,
A small hole or something, let it go down slowly.
would the balloon retract and go back the way it came?
No, just continue floating till it goes all the way around and they catch it. Yeah. And comes back to China, yeah.
I got a kick out of the news report though. It says it was over Idaho and then Montana, and the next it was over Kansas. It's like, wait a minute. That balloon didn't jump over those states.
It's zigzag. I don't know, I know there were two small balloons that got shot down that were tiny. And did they ever decide what the other one was in Alaska? There were two of them up near Alaska. And there was one over Lake Michigan, I think.
If they have, I haven't heard it, but I got the impression that they were clearly not capable of much. They were like a weather or a civilian.
One of them, now I don't know if it's true, but one of them I heard was a ham radio experiment. And one of them I heard was a university experiment. So those would be pretty small and pretty insignificant, really.
Whose dog was that? Oh, that must be Steve's dog.
But
Yeah.
but no, I really don't know why they waited as long. It's bizarre why they waited as long as they waited to shoot that thing down.
Excited that it's possible.
The problem is why it's not a public information.
Locating off this silo is very slow.
Experiment. It's up to the FAA, like tell them.
Everybody knows what they have already.
I will say you my.
You can get very close to them and feed it into your supercomputers. Yeah.
Sorry, thought I was muted.
Up until probably, and I don't know if they've actually changed the rules or not, but I know if your balloon's under a certain size, you don't have to tell the FAA anything. So, you know, I have a feeling that the rules are going to be changing because of what happened, but
Well, I like the hot air balloons, you sit in a lounge chair and go around.
Yes.
That's what I'm
The
thinking.
guy had
And then you go binoculars,
Yeah, the weather balloons were the BB guns.
but they said
Go down slow.
that the ham radio guy who launched his balloon without permission had permission because there was no rule in place about the size of his balloon and his payroll.
No launch a rocket
Right,
above 500 feet or something
yeah,
without permission.
right. And
Maybe anything, nothing can you do about this level because you can hit a plane with a drone, a rocket toy, or a balloon or whatever. So
it's about the size of the payload on the balloons. Oh, we're almost out of time. Okay.
when I was in school. The people.
Back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth.
Before there was an oxygen atmosphere.
Yeah, yeah.
I was in school with people who were in the military and were in the capsule that controlled the Minuteman II missile silos. And all of those were linked, hardwired, where.
Cable got that big.
And
I've been in them.
okay, and they didn't have to worry about telling people where the missile silos were because it was well established.
No.
It was kind of funny though. They didn't have very much to do. And one of the guys that went down and got locked into the missile silo every night, he was taking the same class I was taking. That was the only class he took. And he studied after he did the 45 minutes or whatever, after he got locked in, he spent the rest of his tour that evening studying. It's like, how the hell am I ever going to compete with somebody who puts that much time in it?
Good night,
Say
folks.
bye.
Good night.
On the door to the
Good night.
side, it says,
See you guys
"We
next
deliver
week."
in 20 minutes or it's free." Oh, the North Pole.